Long time no talk to. How have you been?
Good. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to talking to you about this EP because I love the fact that you guys are pouring so much into these songs and you can feel it on this end.
Thank you. Yeah. This new EP is going to be titled Trauma. And basically, it's going to go through the 4 trauma responses, which is fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. But there's also going to be a 5th track called Remedy, where you come to the end of all of your trauma and you accept that you have trauma, you've been through trauma, you're going to continue to go through trauma, but in the end, it doesn't define you and you can get through it. So I am super excited for the release of this because this is everything that I have to give.
I love the concept. So now where did it start? Were you watching a binge watch? How did this all come into being?
So we took a day, I remember the 4 of us in our studio, our basement studio area, and we locked ourselves down there for like 2 days. And we were like, we're going to write a bunch of songs, just whatever comes to mind. And then we're going to start tracking and getting things together. And there was a point where we were writing so many songs and we were looking at so many things. And I had recently was going through, I finally, for the first time in my life, I had seen a therapist. Mental health was always taboo in my household. Mm-hmm. We didn't really talk about it. Even though there were a lot of family members that did have mental health issues, we didn't very much talk about it. So I decided for the first time in the 28 years that I've been on this earth that I needed to see a therapist because the band was getting hard, life was getting stressful. And I was recently diagnosed with CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Mm-hmm. There's a stigma on it that only veterans or people that have fought in like the Army can have post-traumatic stress, but anything really, if your brain is not wired a certain way and it latches on to what's called an event that happens, you can develop post-traumatic stress disorder where it becomes complex. It's a lifelong thing of rewiring your brain and trying medications and going to therapy to try to get your triggers and your trauma under control so that you can live a normal everyday life. And I thought this needs to be talked about because I know we're always like, mental health matters. It's okay to not be okay. I wanted to be like, yeah, we have trauma, but it's not going to define us. Mm-hmm. This is how we deal with it. But we can overcome it. We can get through this. So I wanted to encompass all of that, what comes with the trauma responses and the mental health that comes with it.
Yeah. I love you for doing that. And the reason being is because I've been a daily writer because of the same issue. And so I have to be able to identify my triggers. I have to understand that I'm not going to have good days every day and I shouldn't have the PTSD if something doesn't go right. And that's maybe that's my attraction to this because you cover so much and it really does describe the band even more than, it is that emotional journey.
Well, thank you for saying that. It's, I didn't quite realize how many people actually suffered from post-traumatic stress until I actually came out and was like, hey, this is what I have. And it's not so much as very common, but a lot of people experience it. And a lot of people can get over it and heal from it. But there are a lot of people that are kind of stuck in it. So to hear people say, I have this too, this is what I do. I've been kind of implementing that into my everyday life so that I too can get over this and move forward and be the best musician that I can be.
Yeah, before they started calling it with those letters, the PTSD and things like that, I always called it post-production blues because you put so much into something and then something didn't go right in the transitioning, and all of a sudden you're down in a hole or you're fearing something, you're guilty.
Yeah, that's actually a really good way to put it because, there are days where I'll have a really good day and my brain will just be like, this is suspicious. Mm-hmm. We're not having a good day. Something is wrong. But when the reality, it's no, you're just having a good day. You're just anticipating this, the fight or flight response all the time. And it's, it's something that I've had to overcome and I've had to tell myself on days be positive, be optimistic, you aren't going to have good days. Nobody's going to have perfect days all the time, but it's especially difficult for people with the post-traumatic stress to do that, because our brains are wired to always be looking for trouble and be looking for the next thing that's going to like bring us down. So it's really been a journey trying to learn everything and try to keep myself out of that hole.
Now, in a marketing way, are you going to take the photo for Fight and even with every song, now that we know what each song is going to be about, talk about something that fans would want to get their hands on? Because when I see this photo for Fight, right away I'm thinking fight or flight. Make the choice. Which one do you want?
Yeah, so it was ultimately, when I was looking at this, I wanted, for the viewers, I wanted what I called the stripped down version of me, which is the person that is going through the trauma response. And then I wanted what's called a trauma demon. Mm-hmm. So the demon for Fight is what you see. And then with Freeze, there's a completely different demon, and it'll be the same thing with Fawn and Flight. There's going to be all these different like trauma demons that are trying to get you to fall into like their trauma trap. And then Remedy is going to be the one where it's like, we're going to close the door on this. We're no longer going to allow these demons to come in and take over us. We are just going to be us, our authentic version of ourselves. We're going to embrace it and we're going to move forward. So I am that was like my whole thing with that. I wanted the viewers to have somebody to latch onto and be like, oh, this is me, but this is the thing that's always lurking over me and trying to get me to like be in fight or flight or freeze or fawn. And I don't want to do that anymore. I want to move on from that because trauma doesn't define me. So that was a very important concept that I wanted the viewers to have.
Because I grew up in the KISS generation, not being able to identify who they were, of course I'm charged up about the masks, because it's like, ooh, there's a new mystery here, and we're all going to stare at these photos.
Mm-hmm. So I know for me, KISS is a great example. I know when we were looking at this, I don't know what triggered us. I guess it was like the rise of Sleep Token right now, and that like just image of like nobody knows who you are is such like a great concept to have. So we kind of lashed onto the Sleep Token thing. We're like, let's get masks for these trauma demons so you don't know that it's you, Audrey, the singer. And so I sent my cousin, she does my makeup for the videos. I sent her the mask and I said, hey, here's the mask. We need you to put together a look for the first trauma demon, which is Fight. Do your thing. And she comes in. We didn't tell her anything. And she was like, I'm sorry, I'm going to go Vessel on this because this looks very Vessel-esque and weird and demented. And I want you to look weird and demented. And I was like, that's great. I'm a demon. So do it. So she was very much inspired by Sleep Token. We were very much inspired by Sleep Token because, like I said, we didn't want you to be like, that's Audrey, the lead singer. We wanted you to be like, what is that? What is that thing that's lurking over essentially our lead singer that we haven't seen before? So we wanted to be very ominous, very just weird and twisted and demented.
You know what's really so close to this is the fact that, that most people who suffer don't know the identity of their beast or their monster. And this right here kind of gives us that little bit of a, ooh, she gets it.
Exactly. And that is what I wanted to come across is that, oh, she also deals with this. She also sees this otherworldly being that is tormenting her. And I wanted that, like I said earlier, to be that drive home. It's like, I understand I know what I'm going through, but I understand that everybody probably has this trauma demon that's always over them, that's telling them, you're not good enough, you're not going to make it, you're not going to succeed, you're going to work a 9 to 5 and you're going to die, and that's it. There's nothing else. And I wanted to like give this culmination at the end to be like, no, you can tell that demon, this is not what we're doing. We're moving on. And I understand that you're there, you're in the background, but you're not going to run my life. I'm going to run my life. So once we reach the end to Remedy, it'll all culminate to that. You will see that we're going to shut the door on all the demons and be like, you're here. We understand that, but we're done. We're moving on.
Yeah. Speaking of doors, that red door in the video, ooh, that makes a powerful statement.
Right. So it was when I keep going to the songs because there's like 3 songs not released. So Remedy, I say open up the door. And our bass player, our latest bass player, 6, for some reason latched onto that and said, we got to do a door concept.
Mm-hmm.
I like this door. I see this red door in the middle of like hallways, in the middle of fields. And it's just like following us and we're going through different dimensions. And we were like, all right, dude, whatever you want. And then he went out on Facebook Marketplace, found a door.
Yeah.
And someone was like, what? They were like, take this door from me. So he's like, okay, I'll take the door. And he painted it red. And he was like, this is going to be the concept. It's going to be a red door. And I was like, all right, dude, let's go. Let's run with it.
Was it like making a mini movie?
Yeah, with these different like songs and everything, yeah, it's almost like we're making little mini movies that you could watch in any order and you'll get to all of the demons. So yeah, that's the kind of concept that we were going for when we were working with our videographer Akash Hans. We want this to be like a small movie that you can watch continuously.
Did you go through the door physically, or was this all with special effects?
I went through that door physically. You can open that door. There was 2 people, I think it was Draven and 6 were on the ground holding the door up off screen, like literally flattened on the ground. And Akash was like, open the door and go through it. And I was like, aren't you gonna see them? And he's like, no, I'm gonna do some camera tricks. He goes, just open the door and go through it. So yeah, that's actually me going through the door. Yes. Wow.
Yeah, because it really does capture your imagination. In fact, in my notes here, it says, oh, hell yes, you went through the door.
Yeah. And it's like, it's so surreal. Cause like when you're with all of the trauma stuff, like going through it, I felt like I'm like, when I'm going to another realm, I'm going to the next trauma demon. And it's just like, it sends chills because you're like, I know what Akash is going to do with this. It's going to look so super cool. It's going to look like I'm going to another realm. So I was like very excited about it.
Do you think that your fans at a live show are going to start bringing masks? I mean, look at what happened to Quiet Riot. Everybody was all over that mask.
I hope so. Because that would be super cool, or maybe in the future, people will eventually be able to obtain my masks. But I would love that. I think that would be like super freaking cool if they did that.
Where do you want people to go to buy your merchandise? Because that to me is the most important thing. I like seeing West Coast, East Coast stuff on the opposite coast.
So we have, if you go to our Facebook page, we have a link tree. It's a big cartel. You can get all of our merch there. We have a lot of shirts in stock, but we also are now doing drop shipping, which is where we go through a third company so they can print everything for us and send it out to you in any size that you would like, up to 5X. Because I know a lot of our fans are like, you got 5X? Yes, we do. Go buy it. We've got T-shirts. We've got the new, you can pre-order the new EP right now, actually, Trauma. We've got sweatshirts, tank tops, anything you want, any size you want, we got it. Go check out the Big Cartel.
Are you guys going to be doing a tour as well?
There is a tour in the works right now at the end of October to early November, but the routing is still being worked out right now.
And the big thing anymore, especially here in the Carolinas, I mean, we've gotten into the festival attitude now. Are you going to be doing any festivals?
So we just did Monster Hall Music Fest in Wisconsin. So we are starting to branch out into the festival scene. So we might get to some more this year. If not, we will definitely get to more next year.
What is that like for a band to go to a festival like that? Because, I mean, the roadies have got to be moving quickly. I mean, you guys have got to be on your game the very second you hit that stage.
Oh, yeah. So with because the only fest we have under this name is Monster Hall. What Monster Hall did is kind of what Sonic Boom did, where it was one band is playing while the other band is setting up.
Nice.
So we were the first band on the second stage, so we were able to like kind of take our time and get things set up and get things prepared. But I mean, yeah, once you hit those festival grounds, you gotta know where you're at, where you gotta go. You gotta have the roadies ready to go there or like get people to do it. You got to like go. But luckily, because we're mainly all in-house with our in-ears, we don't have too much of equipment, but that might be a curse because now that we don't have a lot of equipment, our drummer and our bass player are kind of like, we should do stage setup stuff. So we'll see.
Man, you got to come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you. I love talking with you because I love your passion.
Thank you so much. I love being on here too. You're just the energy, just the questions that you ask. It's very engaging and it gets a lot of information out. So I do love being on here.
Excellent. Well, you be brilliant today, okay?
You too. Thank you.